Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Bora for another video. Today we're doing something that is definitely a hot topic in that we are talking about what are the best builds for early to mid ladder. Um, the season obviously is just around the corner, starts on Friday the 12th. Everybody is super hype. I'm super hype. I know a lot of people have been kind of sitting and waiting for this reset to happen. I've been fortunate that I've been able to play the closed beta for the last little bit, so have a little bit of insight into what I'm seeing with obviously all the buffs and nerfs and the changes to some of the fights, like Mephisto and Diablo has gotten harder in hell, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I get a lot of comments asking me what is the best build to start the ladder with. So I'm going to go through a couple of builds today that I think are going to be really solid for you, whether you play solo or whether you play in a group. Now that will change your decision a lot because some builds, for instance, like let's just rifle off one, the Fire Trap Assassin. Very, very strong through normal and nightmare, and absolutely struggles in hell. And that's the same for any single element build that you do. So if you do a Hydra Sorceress, again, super strong through normal nightmare, pretty weak through hell. So if you do have a party of friends that you want to play with, it'll give you a lot more leeway to actually get through normal nightmare and hell, as opposed to if you play solo, you're going to have to be a little bit more creative. For a source, you're going to have to go dual element. For a mind blast for an assassin, you might have to start out with fire and then respec to mind blast. But anyway, those are all options. The game is beatable with every class, solo or not. So definitely, I think it just makes sense that we talk about which ones are going to serve you the best through the early and mid ladder. So here I have the Holy Bolt Assassin. And guys, because I'm doing 5 classes, I'm trying to keep this video obviously from being too long. So I am just going to show particular fights, and this is also something that I want to call out before I jump in, is early to mid ladder. Again, what your objective is going to set the tone for which class you want to pick. But for instance, if you just want to MF, which is I think 90% of people just want to MF really heavily in the early goings of the season, then pick something that's going to be very strong early and not necessarily like one of those support type classes like a Curse Necro or something like that. Those are obviously great for team play, but not as great for when you want to MF yourself. So these builds are going to be pretty centric around, you're going to be doing a lot of solo content. You're going to be doing a lot of farming with the understanding that you're probably meeting up with your friends to do a couple maps here and there. But anyway, just wanted to get that out of the way. When I MF, and a lot of people have hugely different ideas on this, but when I MF very early in the ladder, I like to do those maps where there's no guesswork. Like I don't like to do Mephisto because you have to go through Durance 2, which can be massive. Then you have to, have a pretty hard fight with Mephisto in Durance 3, which they've changed, by the way. They've added 2 new council members, I believe, and I think they've brought the council members forward. So I actually haven't done a Meph fight, so sorry, don't quote me on that, but I do believe that that's what they've done. So I like to do Shank, Eldritch, Pindle, and Trevincial. Trevinkle, I believe. I just learned that it's called Trevinkle the other day. Despite 20 years playing this game, sometimes your mind puts something in there and it's hard to get away. So anyway, I love the Holy Bolt. So I'm going to start with the Holy Bolt Assassin. This is actually what I'm going to be playing. There's a couple of reasons I like this. For early to mid ladder, I like physical damage and I like magical damage. I specifically really like magical damage, which is what Holy Bolt does. There are very, very few magic immunes in the game. Obviously in the wave 2 of Bale obviously is magic immune. That's a bit of a bummer, but in general, there's very few there's no act boss that is immune to magic, and there's very few just super uniques or anything like that that's immune to magic. So that's what makes this build so strong. So for all of these builds, I'm just about to get going here, guys. Thanks for bearing with me for the first 5 minutes. For all these builds, I've done pretty bare bones gear. I mean, this isn't terrible gear, but it's not amazing. And I'll run through for all 5 of the builds the key items that you want and the key abilities that you'll use. So Hand of Blessed Light, Shaco, Maras, Skin of the Viper Magi, Herald of Zakram, War Travs, Ravenfrost because you want Cannot Be Frozen, T-Gods, just a good all-around belt, very easy to find early ladder, a Nagel or Nagel, whatever you guys want to call it, and Mage Fist. And so all told, with this, you're going to hit this 48 breakpoint. If you can get an Iraq, that's going to push you to 75, which is where you ideally, or sorry, that it won't quite get you there. It'll get you to 70, but then you can just replace this Nagel with a 10 FCR ring, and then you're at the breakpoint. Obviously, faster cast rate, increased attack speed breakpoints for all classes are obviously important, with the exception of summon classes. But either way, I'm sitting at 48. This is going to do it for me. This is, of the builds that I've prepared for today, this one probably has the better gear. I put very little effort into the ladder builds because, early ladder, you're not going to have great gear. So we'll see what we can do with pretty shabby gear. So for the Holy Bolter, you want to max Holy Bolt and its damage synergies. I wouldn't worry about prayer, especially early in the ladder. And this is going to be the ability that you use. Now, there is no aura that actually helps your damage. So basically, you want to pick an aura that's either going to help you, which is, I typically use Salvation because it gives plus all to elemental resist, just makes you way more survivable. But you could also go with Conviction. If you play with a team of people, which I will be, maxing Conviction so that all the elemental damage is buffed up is great. Salvation also gives a bit of damage increase, but it's been nerfed for Season 2. And to clarify, guys, all of these have been nerfed in Season 2. So this used to give 3% maximum... this used to give 3% increased fire damage for you and your party. Now it gives 1. Same for these. And Salvation used to give 2. Now it gives 1. So all of that has been nerfed, but all told, it's still a great aura, and any aura obviously is going to be helpful for your team. So I'm just going to run out quickly, put on my Salvation. I have my Holy Bolt on, and I'm just going to go down here and I'm going to kill Shank and Eldritch. And as you can see, again, with pretty bad gear, these things melted, right? Like, this was a very, very easy, very low effort fight for me. And again, I like Shank and Eldritch because they can drop very good items. They can drop high runes. I found a Burr rune at this very position last season, right here from his little minions. So you can find those top tier items. I don't think you can find every item in the game, but you can find a lot. And again, you just saw how easy this fight was. I wasn't in any danger. And, hopefully early ladder, maybe this would be a Tal's Amulet. I always try to do cool stuff on stream. It never ends up working. I got Tankreds, of course. That'll never ever happen when I'm filming. But either way, guys, that's the Holy Bolter. And that's what I'm starting with. And it's good early, mid, and late game. I've already done a run through of all 3 acts with this character. Honestly, from the point that you're like level 13 or 14, you're very strong. In fact, I was playing Players 8, running through Act 2. Everybody went on to do Claw Viper and looking for other waypoints. I did Maggot Lair by myself with 8 people in the game when I was level 14. So just goes to show how strong this is early, mid, and late. And again, you'll love it because of the magic damage. Magic damage is just fantastic because of how few resists there are to it. So that closes off the Holy Bolter. Next, I will look at the Mind Blast Assassin. So for the Mind Blast Assassin, I introduced this concept earlier, but what you might want to do is actually start out as a fire trapper. This Wake of Fire, so like literally if you start with Fire Blast from level 1, you level this up, and then as soon as you can do Wake of Fire, you level this up. You're going to be super strong in Normal and Nightmare. And then I know it sucks to use those Anya quests or the Akara quest to reset your skill and stat points early in the ladder because tokens are so expensive early. But if you can be very careful about it and just do the one, I do think that the best path for an assassin is to start with fire traps and then use one of those resets and then go into Mind Blast. Again, I'm just going to quickly show you. I'll show you the gear. So these actually drop like hotcakes. You find them all the time, so this isn't outrageous to find. Again, I haven't optimized this gear at all. This is +3. It could be +4. Just to clarify for everybody, these always drop ethereal, so this is nothing special. Shaco, Maras, V Magi, Mage Fist, Raven Frost, again for cannot be frozen. This guy does have an Iraq. I could take it off if I wanted to. BK Ring, which I found, and War Traps. Now this is pretty standard gear, maybe a little bit mid to late, but either way, guys, you can pull off this build with just about anything. I'm going to go down here again. No pre-buffs. I'm not even going to cast my Shadow Warrior. The range is pretty impressive on this. You're never going to be in any danger because you're also kind of stunning these units as well. And down goes Eldritch. And now on to Shank. And then, again, guys, I understand that this might not be what you farm, but I'm just trying to exemplify the power of some of these builds. You can see everything's melting. You would be able to do Chaos with this character. Solo, again, very few magic immunes when you get down into the Chaos Sanctuary. And all told, this is a pretty great build for doing that kind of stuff. So I'm actually dying here. I don't have any potions, but either way, I've taken down Shank and Eldritch with pretty relative ease. And sorry guys, I'm just gonna alt-tab and mute my notifications very quickly for something else. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, so I think the Mind Blast Assassin very strong. This does physical damage, so if you do ever have an opportunity to get amplified damage, maybe you get something that procs it on your mercenary, that would be pretty cool. If you want to use like a... Well, anyway, there's a lot of avenues for you to buff up your damage, but as you can see, it's doing about 4k, and this is, pretty bad gear. I have no inventory, no plus skills, no torch, no Annie. Annie, I do believe, is going to be a little bit tough to come by, but again, I didn't pre-buff. I didn't use my Shadow Warrior, which would have tanked for me and helped me out with that fight, and just goes to show how easy this Mind Blast Assassin is to play. On to the next. We will move to the Hydra Source. So I like this one a lot. It's actually what I started PD2 with. I just love Source, and I think when you set your objective for early ladder, obviously a lot of people like to MF, a lot of people like to help out their friends, right? So if you want to help rush someone, what makes the most sense? In a lot of cases, it's the Sorceress because you can teleport. And people, when you do teleport, people will love you for doing that, right? So you can't do Shank and Eldritch with this one. Well, you can. It's a little bit difficult because some of the surrounding monsters are fire immune. Eldritch himself is fire immune all the time. So you don't want to be doing Shank and Eldritch. But what you can do is Pindle, and Pindle again can drop a lot of great items. What I do, I just tally once, and then from afar I place my Hydras, and then hopefully by the time you step up, everything is dead. And yeah, you really don't want to get hit, guys, because sometimes they can kill you in one shot. But all told, down goes Pindle, and it's a really easy place to farm. And then I've said this in a prior video, but guys, feel free to check out the PD2 wiki, because they have a tab called Zones, and you can sort by resist type, so you can see which areas of the game are not going to have fire resist, for instance. So Stony Tomb is an option for you as a fire source, whether you're Combustion, Hydra, whatever you want to do. You can farm the Stony Tomb, which is a level 85 area, so you can get those godly items drop, and all told, you're going to be able to do it with relative ease. I just realized I never showed off the gear. So again, I just went Aki, V Magi, Shaco, Rising Sun, Lidless, War Traps. I have a Raven Frost for cannot be frozen, Gold Wrap for MF, Nagel for MF, Mage Fist for faster cast rate. I'm not quite at the 105. I'm sure that I could make some small tweak because I'm at 30, 30, and 80. So obviously I could add. And I'm already at 100, so I could just add one 10 FCR ring that would put me at the 105, and then I'd have a really solid early ladder build. And for the skills, nice and simple, guys. Just max Hydra and its synergies and the Fire Mastery. Get your point and teleport. Maybe get one of the armors. I haven't done it here, but you can definitely get yourself Shiver armor or Chilling armor, and you're gonna be set. So with and I'll just pause here and say, with all of these builds, enough strength to wear your gear, enough dex to wear your gear, and the rest in vitality, just to keep it nice and simple for early ladder, keep you nice and survivable. I haven't cashed in any of my Anya quests, so I'm sitting at negative resist, but just goes to show that you can obviously still MF with these bad resists. Now we're moving on to the more brainless of the early to mid ladder, but I think these are important to show first and foremost because they are, if you're a very casual gamer and you don't have a lot of time to invest in bettering your gear, but you still want to be able to play, and you play a lot of solo content, then the Summon Druid is definitely going to be a great option for you. And I also like this because, like I said earlier, when you play a different class, you don't have to worry so much about your actual end game, because you can always transition, right? You can always use a token, you can always use a Kara quest to reset, and if you wanted to go elemental after this, then you would be able to do that. So for the summon tree, you go straight down the middle here: Raven, Spirit Wolf, Dire Wolf, Grizzly. You want max Heart of the Wolverine. I'm only level 81 here, so it'd be easy to max that later. You can do 1 point in the Vine, and that's about it, guys. Like, keep it nice and simple. So you're gonna cast your 12 Ravens, your 1 Heart of the Wolverine, your 5 Wolves, your 3 Dire Wolves. I'm running out of mana here. I also don't play this build at all, but I just know it as a very brainless build. Yeah, so 3 Dire Wolves, and 2 Grizzlies. So you just go down, guys. For this, I have not put any points in anything. I guess I'll just dump it into Vitality, and I'm currently wearing 0 gear. And I'm going to show you that you can go down and you can kill these things. And again, 0 gear, guys. So just imagine, even if I had bare bones gear, I'd be able to do this at twice the clip. And then eventually, you get a beast or even a might aura mercenary, and your summons are going to be doing that much more damage. And it's just going to become that much easier to play this build, right? If you can get, if you can get a beast eventually, like a one-hander beast that you use, give everything fanaticism aura, and then you can also put it on your mercenary. Oh, I'm actually dying here because I'm getting pierced. But all told, again, I'm not wearing any gear here, guys. I think you can see kind of the strength of the build. It's mindless though. It's not a build that I like to play, but again, for more casual gamers, or especially for those who are solo self-found, this is a great build for you. And again, if you want to transition to something else later, like an Elemental Druid or a Fury Druid, if you're interested in PvPing, then or even Fury Druid is proving to be one of the better classes for declone, then this is going to be a great option for you. And the number 5 is very, very similar with the Summon Necromancer. So with this build, I have chosen to go. So actually, you want to put a point in Desecrate because Desecrate actually creates corpses for you. It's a huge change in PD2, one that's really nice because for reviving units, you didn't really have that ability to revive units without killing something first. So you would always have to summon golems and then maybe Iron Maiden, wait for something to die, and then you could start Corpse Explosion, and then maybe you could summon a couple of units after that. You don't have to worry about that in PD2. You have Desecrate. It actually creates units for you. So if you want to revive something, you can just use one of those corpses there. I'm just going to quickly head back up to town. For my Summon Druid, this is the build I like. I like Max and Clay Golem. I like Max and Golem Mastery. And that's really all that's important in this tree. You can max revive if you like. Some people really like the Fire Golem, and I do believe that Fire Golem has been buffed in Season 2. I think they made it so minus fire resist properly works for this from your items, so don't quote me on that, but I know that they did it for the Trap Assassin, so maybe they did it for the Fire Golem as well. all told, I like the clay golem. They never die. They have huge resist, huge life. They do good damage. So you get your 5 clay golems from, obviously you have to max golem mastery in order to get your 5. And then for curses, I like to max amplify damage. I'm not even going to use the revives in this instance here, but you'll see that everything dies with relative ease. And you know, as the main character, are never in any risk. You just let your golems walk ahead of you. This guy actually went past my golem. So if you really need to, just summon another golem in front of yourself. But all told, you're just going to be able to walk up. And again, guys, I'm wearing no gear whatsoever. Just goes to show how kind of brainless this is. And I say brainless, but really there doesn't need to be a negative connotation with these summon druids or summon necros, because we're just summon characters in general. They're still fun to play. They still get the job done. In a lot of cases, you know, necromancers, they still offer a lot to your party because you're using curses. So don't let my my calling these builds brainless deter you from doing it. I actually played a summon necro as my second character last season because I was actually struggling to magic find with my sorceress. But obviously, guys, again, I just want to clarify, I am not wearing any gear right now whatsoever. But you see, now I got the 5 golems right on top of this guy, and Shank goes down with relative ease. And again, guys, these monsters can drop good items. So I do like to do those maps with no guesswork, just because teleporting and getting to your farming destinations in a lot of situations can be very dangerous. This one removes that danger. You're right there. You go down the waypoint. It's there. You go to Pindle. Maybe you go to Travinkle. You end the game. And that's it. So I hope this was useful for you guys, because these are the 5 builds that I think, in terms of doing all content, are probably the strongest. There's other builds that are viable. I'll just quickly talk about that, because we do have a bit of time to just continue talking about some of those other classes. I think that the Barbarian is going to be very, very important this season. Again, I'm on the closed beta right now, and I can say with confidence that the declone fight is incredibly hard, and the one thing that makes it easier is a Warcry Bard being on your team. The Battlelor's obviously a huge help. Some of the things that he can do to debuff, declone as well, obviously are huge helps as well. So I do think that there's a lot of room for the Barbarian to be played. You also have, find item. So you can, what a lot of people call it horking, just because of that noise that he makes when he uses find item. But you can do that on the bosses that drop keys. At least you could in season 1. I feel like it was a bug, but maybe it was intended. So you could use find item on the key droppers, find additional keys, and there's just, there's a lot more that you offer. Obviously, the war cries are super nice for your party. I do think that there's a couple of DPS barb builds. Obviously, they made huge changes to Whirlwind. So if you were to go early and you wanted to Whirlwind and you got like the IK set, for instance, you're definitely going to be able to clear most content. I mean, you will be able to clear all content. Obviously, when you run into a physical immune, it gets a little more challenging. But like, you can do Chaos Sanctuary and Diablo with relative ease with just the IK set. And then obviously, you can transition into that declone support character later, into a throw barb if you start getting the gear for that. So that's a key concept that I just can't stop reiterating, is make sure, don't worry too much about your endgame build. Just pick the class that you want to go endgame with and find that early to mid game option that's going to help you obviously get through normal Nightmare Hell, MF to the point where you have enough gear, and then worry about transitioning into your endgame build after that. So I also didn't show the Amazon. Now, the Amazon definitely could have made this top 5 list as well. I really wanted to start this season as an Amazon. I am part of a reset group that is a little more structured, so I've been asked to play the Holy Bolt Paladin, which doesn't bother me at all. Obviously I'm going to be part of that group that's essentially racing to 99, although I'm not trying to go for 99 first myself. I will be going for 99, but I'm not going to be racing for it. the Amazon it fits into this list very nicely because the Javazon is very, very powerful, even with mid-tier gear. Like, guys, you're going to find an early pair of Titans or T-Strokes, and you're going to be totally, totally fine. Obviously, you can't do places with lightning immunes. You're not going to have an infinity, like, really early, but you can just do cows. Go cows, and you kill them very easily. It's a great place to MF. A lot of high runes drop from cows, so I think that the Javazon is a great option for early ladder. And then if you wanted to transition into a Boson, and I know me included, I'm super excited about the prospect of having a 6-socket wind force. So when I start my Zon, I'll probably start with a Javazon, work it with my mid-tier gear, and then transition into a Boson once I've got that that Godly Corrupt on a wind force. So I think that covers every class. Let me back out here to make sure. So yeah, so we talked about all of these classes, certainly. So okay, this is great, guys. I think we're pretty well covered. We're in a good spot to start the season pretty strong. If you guys have any questions, or if you think that there's other like super viable builds, this is just a handful of them. I think they're, like I said, if you've ever watched like one of those really talented Diablo 2 streamers like Mr. Llama or Ryu, you'll know that you can do normal Nightmare Hell with any build out there, right? Like, they make it work one way or the other. We're not all as talented as Llama or Ryu. So certainly, we want to go with something that's a little easier. These are probably the 5 easiest builds that I can imagine. But again, if you have another suggestion, put it in the comments below. I will pin it if I think it's a strong build as well, just to raise awareness, because it's a question that I'm getting a lot going into this next season. So again, guys, Friday the reset happens. I hope everybody is super hype about it. Like I said, I know a bunch of people have kind of been waiting. I think people thought with the absence of a PvP scene that the season dragged on a little bit. But everybody I know is coming back in full force for season 2. I hope everybody has a great time. If you guys want to do some maps, I'm going to be doing my reset with my reset team. But once it gets into mapping, if you guys want to map with me, let me know in the comments or add me on Discord, Bora, BORA, #7700. I'm always happy to answer your questions in the comments or on Discord, so feel free to reach out. Guys, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'm going to be doing a ton of PD2 content through Season 2, especially through the early goings. I always say that I want to pick up the cadence of my videos. I'm definitely going to be doing that in Season 2 because there's going to be so much to talk about. There's just so many buffs and nerfs and interactions that people haven't explored yet, even in the closed beta, even testing out the new declone fight, all that kind of stuff. Super excited. So, like I said, comment, hit me up on Discord. And again, if you like my content, please like and subscribe. It will just help me be motivated, to keep putting out the educational content that I do. So cheers, guys, and I will see you next season.